In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to its fullest potential by leveraging hidden AI search filters, by using the best lead generation practices industry-wide, and by using the most sophisticated outreach strategies that I've been able to use to get $250,000 in revenue from LinkedIn clients in the last 90 days. So the first thing we'll dive into is the search filters so you can get the best possible leads for your company, okay? So there's a few basic things, and then I'm going to get into some of the hidden gems that you probably wouldn't find on a general LinkedIn tutorial, okay? So the main things that you're going to be looking for to start are going to be company headcount. This is going to be primarily used to determine the size of the company that you're working with, right? So obviously the headcount is going to correspond to a different amount of revenue depending on the sort of businesses that you're targeting. But if you're typically, if you're targeting someone with 50 plus employees, it's generally going to be a larger size company, right? And obviously you're going to know best for your company what's going to be the person you target. Typically I work with smaller businesses doing less than 100K a month for the most part. So I would do self-employed or 1 to 10, okay? Now, once we have that filtered out, right, the next thing that you're going to want to look at, a big part, is going to be the actual job title of the person, okay? Now, there's a couple things that you can do with this job title, so I'm going to cover this later because this is going to be a really important one to know exactly how this works, okay? But the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go by geography, okay? So if, for example, you're targeting a specific territory, a specific country, whatever that would be, you just put that in there. For me, I typically target North America and Europe, but I'm just going to go North America for this specific campaign. So I would go Canada and the US, right? Now, the industry, this is one way that you can actually find the people you want to. There's one disclaimer that I would say on the industry. There's a better way to filter through this, because typically when you put the industry of like generally you'd put the industry that you want to target here, right? The issue with this is sometimes this is the actual industry of the person that you're like the actual person's, like the actual lead's LinkedIn character, right? So for example, if you're looking at, for like, if someone was a CFO, right, of a tech company, for example, you would probably put, like, if you're targeting, like, let's say you're trying to target finance companies, if you put finance inside of the industry, you might get like CFOs or like accountants of like completely random companies, like tech companies or like software companies or like these random agencies that you don't necessarily want to be targeting, right? So this doesn't always work. And if you put like marketing in here, for example, you might find like CMOs or like marketing people of like a chiropractor company, right? Which is obviously not what you want to find. So this industry thing is not very reliable. I would not actually use this, okay? Now, there's a couple really powerful things that you can also add in here if you want to lower the amount of searches that you're actually getting, right? Now, obviously, we're going to dive into how to specify your niche. There's 3 main ways to do that, but we want to narrow this down a little bit more so we have more, like, we can relate more with the person that we're reaching out to, with the person that we're trying to connect with, because obviously that's going to increase our conversion rate, okay? Number 1 is you can actually check the school, okay? So if your specific profile is in a school, like you went to a specific school, what you can do is you can actually put the school inside of there, and you can only reach out to people who also went to that school, so that you actually have something in common with the person that you're trying to connect with, okay, that you're trying to sell. So for me, like, I used to go to Western University, so I could just put this in here, and then that would significantly narrow down the people that I'm reaching out to, which is like when I reach out to anyone in here, I'm gonna have a higher chance of connecting with that person and getting that person on a meeting, because there's obviously something in common, okay? So that's one way you can do this, okay? The next thing you can actually do is you can do by the degree of connection, okay? So if, for example, you select second degree connections, what this means is this is going to only populate the search with people who are a connection of someone who you are connected with, right? So they're like a connection once removed, right? And what this means is when you actually reach out to them, again, it shows on your profile that you are also connected with that other person, which is going to get that person to be more comfortable with connecting to you or talking to you, because again, you have that similarity with them, right? You can also do first degree connections if you're looking for people who you're already connected with and you're trying to filter by those. And then obviously those third degree connections, which are people who are not connected with you, you don't have a mutual connection with, right? On top of that, you can also do shared experiences. So I'm not exactly sure what this filters by, but again, this makes like there's something in common. This is one thing that's really, really powerful, is actually posted on LinkedIn. So in a lot of industries, what you'll find there's a lot of people who are actually, like, they have a LinkedIn account, but they're not active. What this posted on LinkedIn does, it actually filters people who have posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. So this isn't something that you want to use to find people who are just like posting. I mean, you can use it that way, right? But the real power of this is to only make sure that you're targeting people who are active on the platform. And what that's going to mean is your connection rate is going to go up, your response rate is going to go up, because you're only targeting people who you know are going to be active on LinkedIn, okay? And on top of that, there's things that you can do like change jobs. Again, if you're targeting like not CEOs, then this could be useful for you. I am just targeting business owners for me personally. I'm sure most people are, but if you're not, and if you're targeting larger businesses, this might be a helpful criteria for you, okay? Now, this is how you make sure that these people are in a specific industry, in a specific niche, okay? So there's 3 ways to do this. The first one is by using the search filter in terms of keywords, okay? So what you would do here is first you'd actually add the job title. So for me, I would want to make sure that I'm targeting the decision maker. So I would put CEO in here. I would put founder in here. I would put co-founder in here. I would put owner in here. And then I would also put co-owner. Okay, so now we're only targeting decision makers of businesses. Okay, now I want to make sure this is specifically, like for me, I would want to make sure that this is specifically a marketing agency, or I would want to make sure it's some kind of like B2B consulting business. Okay, so for this search, we'll say we're looking for a marketing agency, right? So what you would want to do is you'd want to look for multiple keywords that align with that kind of business, right? So marketing agencies, for example, a lot of them will talk about SEO or PPC, or they'll talk about like ads or Facebook ads or things like that. So what I could do is I could do a search filter where I put quotations around the specific filter I want. So like SEO, I would want someone that's talking about SEO, and then I would be able to put and, right, which meaning I want someone with SEO and PPC that's kind of the business that they have, right? So what this is going to do, this is only going to look for people who have SEO or talking about SEO and PPC and are the CEO of a business like that, right? And what I can find here is now I have a bunch of business owners inside of the actual marketing space, right? And then you can swap this out for however many you want. If you want to narrow down the search, again, there's many things you can do. You can see like only second-degree connections if you want to. This is going to lower this down all the way to 12,000, right? I'm very well connected with a lot of marketers, obviously. I can make sure there's only posted on LinkedIn, so they're all new people. And then that lowers it down to 3,000. And maybe I only want to target the US instead of Canada, right? And what this allows me to do is now I have a more targeted list of just 2.5 thousand people, and that's good, right? Now there's more things that you can do inside of the search filter. So for example, another way to narrow it down, I could do SEO and PPC and ads, right? Now this is probably not going to be very many people, right? But this would narrow it down even more. So I have 1,000 now, which is obviously even more narrow. Or if I wanted to make it broader, what I could do is, for example, I could do SEO or PPC, right? And then if I did this, right, then I would be able to have anyone who has SEO or the word PPC and has this. Now, might be some people that fall into here that aren't necessarily an agency owner, like they weren't before. Most of them will be pretty good. But if you have a broader search, typically you're going to have less like exact people inside of that market, right? Now, let's say, for example, I wanted someone who either does let's say SEO, and let's say I wanted to target a marketing agency who does like SEO or PPC, or I wanted to target like a consultant, for example. So what I could do is I could look for someone who specifically does SEO or PPC, and PPC, right? If I wanted to be more targeted with the search. And then I could also do and then I could do consulting filters, right? So maybe like if I wanted to target both of these kind of industries. So I could do or consultant, right? And then maybe I just want to target marketing consultants, right? And then I would just do like this. Now I'm going to find a greater amount of people, right? Because I'm targeting the people who are in this criteria or the people who are in this criteria, right? And this is going to ultimately give me like a more targeted search. And you can do a whole bunch of combinations of like ands and ors. And you can also, if you want to, right? If, for example, I didn't want to target consultants who did SEO and PPC, I only wanted to target agencies, what I could do here is I could do not consultant, right? And I would only find here people who have SEO and PPC inside of their like profile, and they do not have consultant, right? So this is obviously going to narrow the search filter even more. And then we have 1.5 thousand, right? Whereas if we remove this, this is going to be higher, right, than 1.5 thousand. So we just remove basically 1,000 consultants who help people with SEO and PPC. Okay. Now this is one way to do it. Now there's one more way to do it. But there's two more ways to do it. Okay. One of those is to actually use the job title as the filter. So if, for example, if someone has a specific job title, and by that job title, that means basically that they're the owner of the business, then you don't need to have the CEO, founder, owner criteria, right? So what that could look like is if, for example, one of my clients is actually, he actually helps like motivational speakers and like public speakers, for example, right? If you are a public speaker, you are the owner of your public speaking business, right? You're not like you don't really have to have both of those criteria, right? So while you could do the public speaker and motivational, right, inside of these keywords, what you can also do is, just because you're a public speaker, like you are the decision maker, what you could do is you could just put public speaker inside of here and just include this, and obviously this head count is a bit like irrelevant, right? And you're going to be able to instantly find all these people. Now this is a low because I had just second degree connections on, right? And posted on LinkedIn. So if you just turn this off, then this is going to obviously increase our search filter, right? Now I can also just look for, if I also want to target different types of speakers, right? I could add motivational speaker in here as well. And then I would add an extra 3,000 to my list, right? So by the nature of these people having this job title, it means they're the decision maker. You don't have to add the whole keyword thing, and you don't have to add these different job titles, okay? Now, there's one more way to do this, and this is really good if you are specifically targeting the actual company, like if they're like in a very specific kind of company, like if you target a very specific industry, this is very good for that, okay? And it's by using account filters and lists. So this is a little bit more tedious, but it's very, very, very good if you're trying to target a very niche type of person, okay? And after this, I'm going to show you all the different ways that you can actually generate, like turn these people into leads and actually reach out, okay? Now, what you're going to do is obviously this, right? When you put the industry in here, the reason why this works well is because this is the actual industry of the company, not of the person, okay? So if, for example, you put finance, financial services in here, you're not going to find like an accountant for some like random like company, right? You're actually going to find financial services companies, okay? So let's just use this as the example, right? Again, like you can use the same filters in terms of the actual HQ of the company. You can look at the company headcount. Let's say if we wanted to target larger businesses, so 200 employees plus, for example, we would just go something like this, and this is what we would do, right? And then we're going to find all these large companies. Maybe we don't want 1,000 employees. That's a bit ridiculous. Or maybe it's not ridiculous. It's just a lot. Let's say we want to target 200 to 1,000 employees, okay, of financial services business in the United States. And you can see we have 3,000 results. So this is where we can get very, very technical, okay? Now, there are some actual, if we go to see all filters here, there's actually some very interesting AI filters here that we can use that are very, very, very specific. One of them being buyer intent. And what this does is this actually looks at people specifically. I believe how this works is it's looking at different things like how much the company is actually spending, I don't know exactly how this all works, to be completely honest with you, but this is what this looks is. It is the decision makers in this company are actively investing in different things, right? So this can be helpful if you're looking to target that, okay? On top of that, you can also have the connections, right, which can be helpful, and you can look at job opportunities. So you can see if people are hiring, okay? And typically, if they're hiring, it means they're looking for some kind of result from a specific service, and if you offer a service, well, then this can be helpful, right? You can also use this to like look for a job if you need to, right? On top of that, you can look for department headcount. So if you're looking specifically to help like businesses who have like sales, like say you're like a team sales trainer, right? What you can do is you can look at business development, and you can say you want them to have a minimum of 10 salespeople on their team. You click add, and if you're going to train a sales team, right, you don't want to find someone with like one BD guy, right? Now you can actually look for people with 10 plus business development reps, okay? You can also look at department headcount growth, okay? So again, if you're looking to actually help people with their business development, you can look at people who are growing like 33% every year on their actual business development team. And again, this is people who are obviously actively trying to grow their sales team, which probably means they're like heavily investing into their sales team, which is a good place to target them, okay? On top of that, you can look for like, if they're like a Fortune company, which again, most of you probably aren't targeting that, but if you are, you can use that. You can also look at the technologies used, which is super cool. So maybe you want to target people who are, for example, actively running Google Ads, then that's something that you can do, right? So there's a whole bunch of different things. Now, what you do here is once you have this search of the people, again, this is a very narrow search. I use like all these filters. You probably won't do that. You'll probably have a few thousand in here at least. But what you'll do, and maybe not, and that's fine, is what you'll do is you have to click select all, because we need to make sure we actually find the owner or the decision, like a specific decision maker in this company, maybe not the owner. But you need to actually select these and save them to a list. So what you'll do is you'll go one. I actually forgot to add it to the list, right? So you do the first one, you click select all here, you do save to list, and what you do is create a new list, and I'm going to call this example demo list, and then I would create and save. Then what I would do is I would go to the next page, and this is why I said it was tedious, is you would have to click select all, save to list, and then you do example demo list, and then you go to the next one, and then you do the same thing, and you repeat until you're like, okay, this is enough companies, okay? Now, once you've done this, you're going to go back into your lead filters, all right? You're going to define the job title that you want to target. So maybe you want to target CMOs, and you want to target VP marketing, vice president of marketing, right? And these are the people you want to target, okay? I'm not sure why this is 0. Maybe this is on. There we go. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to add the lead list. Okay, so now you're just going to find the chief marketing officer and the vice president of marketing of those companies that we already did, right? So this is, if we go to, you'd find your lead list in here. I'm not sure why mine's not showing up. I might not have saved it, right? But what you do is you'd add your lead list here, right? I'll just add one of these example lead lists here. And right now we can see the CMOs of these businesses that we just selected, right? And once you have that, then you're actually able to start using these to generate leads, okay? Now, once you've done this, the third step in doing all of this, okay, is the different ways that you can actually reach out to someone, okay? And this is how you turn them from just like a random person on Sales Navigator to an actual like meeting booked or a potential client, okay, or someone who's interested in your service. So what you do here, okay, there's 4 main ways. Number 1 is through connections, okay? So what you can do here is you're simply able to just open this up, right? And then once you've done this, once you've opened this profile up, right, you can just go to here, and then you can go to view profile, right, on LinkedIn, and then what you're able to do is you can simply go to more, and then you can actually go to connect. And I'm actually connected with this person for some reason, right? But you would just be able to click connect, and you can connect with this person. Once they connect you back, you can go ahead and actually message person, right? So my setter obviously messaged this person already, right? Now what you would do after that, okay, the second way to reach out to people is through in-mails, okay? So most people will not have this, but some people will have something called an open profile, right? Meaning that you're able to message these people without being connected to them. If you want a simple way to actually delineate between who's an open profile and who's not, what you can do is there's this software called scrupp.com, SCRUPP. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because that would take ages. You're able to actually export all of these LinkedIn contacts using that software. And then once you have that, you can actually segment the different leads by if they have an open profile or a closed profile. And if they have an open profile and you go to their LinkedIn account, you can click more, and then you're going to be able to just click message, right? Or you can just click message right away. This person is obviously different because I'm already connected with this person, so it doesn't matter, right? But what you would do here is you'd be able to go to more and you can message, right? Now this is just going to take Navigator, but if you just click message, right, and they were already, like if you were able to just message them, that would be an open profile, right? Now, the third way to do this is by using premium in-mails, okay? So you saw when I actually clicked on that person before, if we just go find that other person that I'm not connected with and I tried to message them, it would, let's just go to this random person here. I would click more, and if I click message, it's going to take me to Sales Navigator, okay? And what this is going to allow me to do is it's going to allow me to send an in-mail even though this person is not having an open profile, okay? So by the nature of having Sales Navigator, they actually give you, I think it's 50 of these every single month, so that you, even if they have a closed profile and they don't, and you're not connected with them, you're able to message them by using a premium in-mail. Again, you get 50 of these a month. And what this is basically like an email for LinkedIn, so you can add a subject line. Typically, I just do quick question name, and then you would obviously add your message here. I'll give you the best messaging strategies just in a second here, but that's another way you reach out to, okay? The fourth and final way, that you can actually reach out to people, let's go back to this, is you can use this software called Contact Out. And what this is going to do, right, is you can actually find the emails and the phone numbers of these people so that you can cold call them and you can cold email them like by using their LinkedIn profile. Okay, if you use scrup.com, you can also export all of the emails that it finds here. However, contact out is significantly more accurate, and this is just going to give you, it's going to show you, number one, if it's a verified email, and number two, you just click view email here, and then you're able to just get their email, and then you're able to send them an email. That's the other way you can reach out to them, or you can just get their phone number, and then you can call them as well. Okay, now once you have that in place, you are set to go in terms of the fact that you have the leads to reach out to and you know how to do that. You just need the actual scripts and the best ways to reach out to them, okay? Now, before we get to that, if you want help with any of this, and that's implementing a lead generation and a appointment setting and a meeting booking system inside of your business that's doing all of this for you and getting those meetings into your calendar completely automatically, there's a link in the description that's going to explain exactly how that works and exactly how I personally can help you with that. But other than that, let's get back to the video. All right, now the best way to actually reach out to these people, the best scripts that I found are typically the ones that are more personalized when it comes to connections, and the ones that are more direct response based when it comes to in-mails, okay? So when you're in-mailing someone, it's a very different dynamic from when you're actually connected to someone and you're reaching out, right? Now, the thing is with LinkedIn is you're very limited in terms of the amount of outreach that you can do on a single account, okay? And that's with connections, right? The reason why is because you can only reach out to people who you're already connected with, right? Like unless you use a premium in-mail or they're an open profile, for example, right? And what that means is you need to get the most out of every single lead that you're contacting, right? So for me, for example, for one of my clients, the speaker guy that I was talking about before, Donovan, he's actually able to get about 1 in 10 people who he DMs that are connected with him to actually schedule a call in with him, right? Now, the reason why he was able to do that is because he's using very personalized strategies that I was able to help him implement, obviously, by using LinkedIn voice notes, which are going to be the most effective way in terms of actually getting someone to respond to you, because you're going to be able to stand out from everyone else, right? Once you send that initial voice note, then you can actually go into your pitch in terms of what you do, how you can help the person, and why they should book a meeting with you, and then obviously the call to action. Now, the dynamic is a little bit different when you're doing in-mails. Number one, because you can't send voice notes on in-mails, unfortunately. But number two is because there's not really a hard limit. I mean, there is, but it's a lot higher in terms of how many in-mails that you can send, right? So you can, for example, you can send like 50 in-mails a day per account, right? Which is what we're doing right now. And we have like 15 accounts that are doing this. But you can send about 50 in-mails per day, per account, without any regard to actually going to spam. So it's very volume heavy, and you want to be as quick as possible from getting that person to actually schedule a meeting with you, which is why it's so direct response based and why it's so short, right? So typically the process I use for in-mails when reaching out to someone would just be asking if they're open to a potential strategy on helping them get a specific result. For me, it would obviously be to get guaranteed meetings on a pay on results basis. And once they're actually interested in that, then I go ahead and talk about my strategy, my case studies, my examples of how we've done this for a ton of other clients. We've worked with over 70 other marketing agencies and B2B coaches, and how they can actually get results from this as well. And then with the calendar link embedded inside of the pitch, and most of them will just book from that, right? So it's kind of, you have to balance the quality game in terms of the connection side of things, and then the volume games in terms of the inside, or in terms of the in-mail side of things, right? So another bonus hack, if sticking around for the end, this is going to be super helpful. If you're actually connected with someone, what you can also do is you can visit their profile before reaching out, and you can actually go to their posts, for example, right? And you can actually engage with their content, and don't say like, I just sent you a DM under their engagement, because they're just going to know what that's about if you're trying to pitch them something. But what you should do is you should go like their post, put like a valuable insight under their actual post or something that shows that you appreciated it, and then actually messaging them is going to significantly increase the amount of people who are interested in what you have to say and who are going to be open to scheduling a meeting, okay? Now, if you like this video, you're going to love my next video on how to get more clients using LinkedIn, so click the button there and I'll see you there.